Hello there and welcome to another interesting episode of the interview. This is the first edition of this new year. So I want to take this time to say Happy New Year to you. Today I am delighted to have a very wonderful and fascinating guest. You will soon find out. So as I usually do, I encourage you to actively participate even as this discussion continues. Today I'm privileged to have the delightful Viktor Kuchili. And we'll be having a very wonderful and interesting conversation today. So once again, Happy New Year, happy 2021. You made it, and we are all happy that we all made it to 2021. So thank you so much. I will be introducing my guests just in a jiffy. So I encourage you, just as I said, to ask questions even as the discussion continues, to ask questions, to actively participate and contribute to make this discussion a very wonderful one. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce my wonderful guest today. Today, I'm privileged to have Mr. Viktor Kuchili, who is a development consultant, a business coach, and a mentor, a faculty member of the Just Business School, member of the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Human Capital of Nigeria. He has consulted for German Technical Corporation, Women for Women International, Plateau State Microfinance and Development Agency. Mr. Viktor Kuchili is an author and a producer of the radio inspirational program Stepping Out for over a decade. And Kuchili's other books include he has authored many books. Let me just mention a few of them here. He authored the book Generating Business Ideas, Intensity of Attention, The Way of the Masters, Leadership Edge, That Art's Winning Self, Vision, The Anchor of Life, Winning Consciousness, Leadership Sphere, Get Noticed, 7 Powers That Empower You, Attributes of Successful Entrepreneurs, Business Plan, and many, many more. Kuchili is a frequent guest on radio and TV programs. He works through his companies, Choice Concept Network and Victor Roth's Consulting. You are welcome to the program and Happy New Year. Mr. Kuchili, you are welcome to the program and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. So we'll go ahead and start our discussion. So I want to start by talking about 2020. 2020 was a very tough year for all of us, for almost everyone in the world. What are some of the lessons that we learned in 2020 that can help us even as we try to navigate 2021?
Well, first of all, thank you once again for having me on the program. I'm quite delighted to be part of what you are doing, wonderful work in disseminating information around for people to become more productive. I am most grateful for that opportunity. I must say also that it is in disseminating information. I must also say that it's quite become more productive. I am most grateful for that opportunity. I must say also that it is in disseminating information. I must also say that it's quite become more productive. I am most grateful for that opportunity. I must say also that it is in disseminating information. I must also say that it's quite become more productive. Are we having a little challenge? Follow me.
Yes, it looks like we're having a little challenge. I will encourage you to just go off and try to come back. Sometimes it does that. If you do that, it may help. So maybe you just log out and try to log in again so that we'll be able to have the conversation. It seems we're having some network challenge right now. Thank you so much. If you are joining me today, I have Mr. Viktor Kuchili. We're trying to, sort out some technical glitches, but he will be back. When he is back, we'll continue with this wonderful conversation. So I encourage you, as I always say, I encourage you to actively participate so that we'll be able to have a very robust conversation. Now we can see you very well. So as you were saying, yes, please take it away. You are right now muted. If you can just press the unmute button. You're currently muted.
Like
Yes,
that,
yes, yes.
20,
You're good now.
you
Yes,
can hear me now. All right
yes,
then.
yes.
2020, for me, it actually revealed much more about human resilience and capacity to deal with issues, knowing very well that no one had anywhere promised us a stress-free life. And so it came with so much difficulties around us, but it was quite revealing to me that after everything, as human beings, we're after all humans, and challenges are bound to come. But again, it also opened the opportunity for us to, as I've often said to people, upgrade ourselves. First of all, we needed to interact better. We needed to use a lot of technology. We needed to invest in a lot of personal development if we were going to get anywhere. For those in business, they needed to realize that the customer at the center of everything needed to be attracted, needed to be gotten into a better situation only if you understood technology, you understood that COVID-19 meant that you're not going to be all around him. So you needed to be more creative, more innovative in being able to do that. It also, tells us that things will never remain the same. They are not just going to be. Change is the most practical thing that can ever happen. So the wisest thing for anyone to do, the most productive thing to do, is to be able to be flexible enough to know what you can change and things you cannot change, and the things you need to be able to up your game around. So it did reveal a lot to us, but it also showed the human resilience in whatever it is we're doing.
2020 was quite revealing, and it also shows the human resilience. Sometimes we underestimate what we can take, and I think that is so profound what you have said. So looking at 2021, we often begin the year with great optimism, and some people make New Year resolutions. By the middle of the year, we often discover that things are not any different after making resolutions, after our optimism. We at the most part, maybe by the first quarter of the year, we feel disappointed. And sometimes things can even become worse than the previous year. So I want us to talk a little bit about that first. Are you a fan of New Year resolutions?
First of all, I would say with all sense of responsibility that I don't even, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of vision.
That makes the two of us.
I don't think that yearly resolution is the issue. It's you wake up in the morning and you just discover it's another day with 24 hours, and the relationships are there. You've got your 5 fingers, you've got your legs, you've got your head, and whatever challenge you had before. So it's another day. But the issue is, do you have a vision about on your life? Do you have a direction you want to take? Do you have a strategy, a commitment that will take you there? Because most of the times when we give those kind of resolution, we make ourselves look like we're in a box. And sometimes if you're a Christian or a religious person, you seem to box the creator in a situation that makes it look like he needs to do this for you because it's a brand new year. It's just another day. All you need to do is to ask yourself, do you have a vision of your life? Will this day add any value to it? And once you understand that, it also means that you need to have a strategy. Many people talk about what they want to achieve. Many people talk about their vision, and there's absolutely no strategy. So they talk about the why, but never invest in how. How are you going to do it? What are you ready to commit? What are you ready to cut off? What relationships are you ready to network with? What other personal development strategies are you ready to invest in? I'm shocked to find that somebody talking about trying to be better in school and he will rather not study. Somebody is talking about trying to be better in business, and there are no new outlets for attracting new customers, no network that will give you better suppliers. You're not also thinking about your strategy in terms of pricing. So you It's just a vision that you need. It's critical to your life. The idea of every year I need to write something down. You are even being generous by saying the first quarter of the year that people get that. I can guarantee you in the next 1 week, people can't even remember what it is that they actually had given their resolution to. So it's more about commitment. It's more about asking yourself, what kind of person would you rather become? What kind of business would I rather have? What kind of community life would I rather have? What kind of spiritual life would I rather have? What kind of a health life? What kind of relational, educational? These are things that you don't just do it because it's another year. You do it because it's life. So you must invest in life, not just in living. And if you understand that, then you are not restricted by whether it's a year or another year or another calendar year or and I'm so excited. If you notice that Russia and Japan were there ahead of other people. So they got there ahead of you. Does that mean yours is not a new year or theirs is not a new year? So it's another day. What are you ready to invest in it?
Wow. That is so profound. Why do you think many people usually become disappointed by the quarter, you said the first week of the year? What is responsible for such disappointments? I understand you talk about it's about vision, not about resolutions. Yeah, can you expatiate on that?
Now, first of all, people must understand that as you get into life, we started with 2020 that created the basic difficult situations we had. There were economic issues that were triggered by the health issues we had. United States, for instance, had its own issues with its being a credit economy, had to deal with that space. We also saw Nigeria, for instance, where I am, where it's basically a cash economy that we're still battling with that to try to move it to credit. And so the more these things were not coming in, issues were naturally going to flow in. Now back to the question, why do people fail at that? There are two things I often say. First of all, obstacles and challenges do not come to stop you. They come to challenge you, and they're challenging one thing. They're testing to find out whether you are committed or you are simply interested in a thing. These two things are critical for me because anyone who is simply interested in a thing does it when it's convenient, does it when everything seems all okay, does it when it's every other person is agreeing with you, is supporting you, is taking you seriously. But that's not how life is lived. So people who eventually succeed with those ideas are people who are committed to it. And commitment is simply saying that I am doing it, I'm being motivated by the goal. I am clearly saying that it is what I achieve and the impact that it's able to create that makes all the difference. So I'm not limited by the obstacles. They will always come. They will always come. Remember, they're going to test your creativity. They're going to test your commitment. They're going to test your ability to network with people. You can't keep throwing people off because you have little challenges with them. These are the basics that come with the question of why some people will succeed or not. So somebody writes that he expects that in the first quarter of the year, he hopes to make $3,000 or 3,000 naira. Then he wakes up in the morning and he's told that COVID is here. So we need to shut down the economy. You can't go out. So what do? He looks at you and tells you, well, I can't move, so I can't make the money. Then somebody picks his phone, an Android phone, and gets an airtime or credit, as we say in Nigeria. And then within a short time, he's able to connect with other people, makes his sale, discusses his own business, and funds are thrown to him. I have consulted for international organizations, and they never saw me from the point of idea generation, conceptualization of the idea, testing the idea, and eventually signing the contract and delivering the results. We never met. We didn't see. We had to use the technology platform. So a person who is interested would have given up, but a person who is committed would have gone the extra mile to make sure that his technology is also good for him to get that result. So these things have naturally separated those who are great today and fulfilled and those who would have been if they were simply committed in it.
So the question is, what strategy should people adopt in the beginning of the year to be able to survive the challenges that might come along the way?
Yes, the first thing I usually say to people is, what kind of person would you want to become? Would you want to become a trusted, valuable, dependable, productive person? This is the first thing you need to ask yourself. And it's not just going to come because of the year. It's going to come because of the vision you have on your life. So once you agree that I need to be a productive person, then the next question is, how do we go about it? It means that I must up my game in terms of my knowledge base, in terms of my relational base. And when I talk about knowledge base, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to get back to school, but you need to get back to being at the knowledge or the information that is relevant to your situation, that you can access it at the tip of your fingers at any time. I've asked people to always ask themselves, do they have the capacity to always work on the new innovations that are coming up around them? Are they able to work on being aware that there's a new research in one area they're interested in? Are they also aware that there are opportunities and extended opportunities around the direction they're taking? That is one thing you need to also you need to clearly work on. Then you need to ask yourself, who and who needs to be within my area of influence? Research has shown, and I think Harvard University did that a couple of years back, where they showed that Genesis, we're not just a function of intelligence, but of association. So the quality of association that you have will also matter a lot. Then you need to have what we call a deliberate discipline. And I'm using these words carefully. You would have just thought that deliberate would also mean discipline, but deliberate discipline in the sense that how many hours would I invest in understanding or knowing what I'm doing and making it a little bit better? This is very key. Many people, I can give you an example. Recently, I had to tell myself that I wasn't going to have my data on until between 8 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. The only time I would have that data on is to look at it by 6:30 to 7:30, so that if there's a new mail or something that I need to respond to. But the rest of the time, if I am not working directly on my platform on the internet, or if I'm reading or doing some write-ups, then I need to work on. I write books, so I must also tell myself at what time do I sit to write. So I'm taking Tuesday and Thursdays to say they are my writing days. So I make sure that whatever appointments I have, Tuesday and Thursdays should be free for me to study, to sit down and write my books. Because if you don't, naturally things will occupy. You remember the Parkinson's law. It just tells you that every time there's a space, something rises up to fill that space. So why do you have to wait for it to rise to fill your space? Why don't you deliberately rise to fill your own space? So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I take them out. That's one strategy. And then we live in a world that health is becoming key. It's important that no matter who you are, no matter how intelligent and brilliant you think you are, you need a healthy body to carry it through. So you also need to ask yourself, do you have a strategy that allows you eat to live, not eat to die? So you need to ask yourself that question. Are you introducing substances that are allowing you live so that you get that done? And then you need to ask yourself, do you have the opportunity to test run whatever ideas you have? I have seen lots of people lose who they are, lose valuable ideas because they refuse to test them. They rather jump into the market and got consumed. So you must put these things into order. You must have a personal development strategy. How long do you take to look at that? The quality of your relationships. Where are you spending most of your time? Once you decide on that, it helps you and begins to show you that they will influence where you will go. Influence what you see. They will influence what you are hearing. They will influence the quality of your thought process. And at the end of it, as someone will say, that you are like the 5 people that you have interacted with all the time. So it's important that you have that and then put that strategy around. So it's important, it's critical for you to work within that those strategies.
It requires planning and discipline. For the past few decades, many Nigerians graduate from universities and colleges without job or without employment, and the rate of unemployment keeps rising at an alarming rate. Do you recommend entrepreneurship as the way forward?
In fact, I'm not only recommending entrepreneurship, I'm only saying that is the only way out. That is the only way out. Listen, what has separated great countries in the world today what has separated developing and developed economies is actually entrepreneurship, is entrepreneurial efforts. You look at those economies and you discover that they are able to make all the sense because they take resources from where they are, make them useful, and able to add value to it. I give you an instance. Nigeria, with a population of 209 million people, have between 60 to 70 million who are unemployed. When you take the statistics from the Bureau of Statistics in Nigeria recently, by end of the fear was that by end of December, if we did nothing remarkable, nothing radical, we're going to have 20 million people back into we are. We're the capital, the poverty capital of the world. Every 6 minutes, you're having people dropping from the ladder and getting into that. So, but do you know that in Nigeria, we have not only oil, we have timber, we have mineral resources in terms of, in fact, I give you one state, Plateau State, for instance. Plateau State has the capacity to produce rice, produce potatoes, produce yam. It has mineral resources. It has gold. It has from a range of 7 local governments that deposits of oil has been found. It has over 2 basic universities. It has a polytechnic. It's got colleges of education. So on one side, you've got the resources. On the other side, you've got the human capital basis to be able to turn it around. But the question is, do you have a deliberate policy that helps you encourage entrepreneurship? Where we're getting it wrong here is that we assume that policies, government policies, create entrepreneurs. No. Government policies can be triggers, but they don't create entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are people who are able to look at the society, look at where they come from, and find alternative uses to existing resources. Government does not have the capacity as we're talking right now. Why am I saying that? Government cannot give you the jobs because the United States of America, that was taking between 23 to 25% of our oil, has dropped to between 18 to 11%. So we're not getting that from the United States. You know, being based in the United States, that Shell oil is taking over, and it has so much capacity. So again, we don't have that. And then we're looking at Asia. Asia is telling us, well, especially China, I'm going to give you oil, but I need your oil, but I need it for products. We want cash. So what do we do with them? How do we negotiate that? So what we need to do is the ability to look at our capacity to train people, to create a deliberate system where they can access
Looks we're having some technical glitches there. Don't go anywhere if you're watching this. Can you hear me?
funding. First of all, the registration shouldn't take you 24 hours. Are we back?
Yes, we're back. We're back. We are good now.
So
yeah.
the network. Yes. So I would say young people, very, very creative people in Nigeria. The energy, in fact, the energy in this country. Remember that the young people, and when we talk about the young policy, the youth policy in this country is defined as the youth, and so that gives you the opportunity to harness that. Our capacity is not in oil; it's actually in the potential of these young people being able to walk through. And I can tell you what we have started doing. You can see them able in music, you can see them in the arts, you can see them in manufacturing shoes just beside your house, you can see them turning grains of maize into flour and being able to make that work. So we must encourage that, and that's the way out to hit at the poverty level in this country.
Wow. Not many people know about some of these facts that you have enumerated. What are the basic attributes of a successful entrepreneur? I know you have written a book. You read a book with this topic. If you can do us the favor to just talk about some of the attributes of a successful entrepreneur
Yeah,
or a successful?
for the attribute, first of all, you need what we call it starts with a decision. Now, and you know that the word decision coming from two Latin words, dare and cadere, meaning cutting off every other option. Anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur must decide that he wants to get in there. It's not out of convenience. It's not out of not having jobs. It's not just out of availability of even resources. It is your ability to find alternative uses to existing resources. So if you are able to be moved by that need or create a need, then that is the first thing you need. You need a decision. I want to do this. And I've often used myself as an example. This is the first over 16, 17 years that I've started getting myself into the entrepreneurial pathway. And so it was a decision. I just decided that this was what I needed to do, and I got into it. Number two is belief system. You need to believe that you have what it takes, that the environment is also ready for you to go into it. Why am I saying this? Belief is so powerful that I've seen people die for it. I've also seen people refuse to die because they believe that they can add value to it. I give you an instance. Number one, in your belief system, you must believe that there are resources around you. In
Hmm.
Africa, with about just about 14% of global population, we have over 40% of natural resources. So you need to believe that there are resources around you. If you don't believe that, there's absolutely nothing you can do. I've heard people when I was starting my first consulting company and said who was going to do that in Plateau State, who was going to take consulting seriously in Nigeria. But we have seen that consultants who have made over 1 billion naira in delivering services. They have created wonderful, amazing resource around them. So you must believe. And believe is so powerful that if all of us believe in you and you don't believe in yourself, there's no possibility that you will succeed. But if
That's
all of us don't even believe in you, just like most people didn't believe that we could get anywhere, they believed in their capacity to get into whatever it is what they wanted to do, they were able to make a headway. So it's very, very important that you get that into your path. The third thing is that you need to also have confidence, the ability to connect with people. Your confidence comes from just not interacting, but your ability to access knowledge. Now that's very key. That's very key.
Yes, just having some technical difficulties there. I am together with Viktor Kuchili. He will sort this out and we'll continue with these conversations. Please, I encourage you, if you're watching this, go ahead and share this video so that other people can benefit from this wonderful and interesting conversation about how to navigate, this new year that we have just started. We don't know what the year holds, but we have this serial entrepreneur and a life coach, Viktor Kuchili, who has been doing a very wonderful job. He's here to share with us free of charge some wonderful and wonderful content. So I encourage you to go ahead and share this video and share this conversation, this live stream, so that other people can benefit from it. Welcome back.
Yeah, we're back. And
Yes.
this tells us, it takes me to the next point, your ability to even take advantage of opportunities. The
Hmm.
fact that we are on and off the network is an opportunity. What can we do? Where are the telecoms guys? They can come in and make this all better. So your ability to pick up opportunities. It's easy for everybody to talk about problems. It's easy for everybody to say, this is where the problems are, this is where the problems are. But I want to see people who pick up the opportunities, who will make sense of it. For instance, you talk about diabetes that is eating people off, and then right in Nigeria or in Plateau State that you have Fiona, or basically a solution to it. All right. So you need to be able to ask yourself what opportunities. How come, for instance, in one of the states like Benue states that you have so much oranges, but you don't have an orange juice factory? What's happening to it? How come we have so much potatoes here and we don't have oranges here?
You are still on with Victor Kuchili. Don't go anywhere. We will continue with this conversation. It's getting so interesting, and the network is kind of interfering. But I hope that I will be able to sort this out and continue with this wonderful conversation. And keep the comments coming. You can like this video, just as I said. You can share it so that other people will be able to benefit from this interaction, wonderful interaction. As soon as that is sorted out, we'll continue with this wonderful conversation with my guest today, who is Viktor Kuchili, who has been doing a very wonderful job. He has written several books. He's a life coach. He's an entrepreneur. He's a consultant. He's a strategist, and just a lot of things. Sometimes you wonder, how does he manage to do all these things that he does? So keep the comments coming. If you have any questions, I can see some of you are already making comments. Isha Fofana, Emmanuel Junior Zaka, Innocent, Abi, thank you so much for all your comments. Keep the comments coming, even as we continue with this this wonderful conversation. And happy new year to you all. It's going to be a great year. All right, nobody knows what is going to happen this year specifically, but there are strategies that we can adopt to help us navigate the year very well. Welcome back. Sorry for all the technical glitches. Yeah.
Yes, it's part of the reality where we live in. So we need to up the game. Just as I said, it's a huge opportunity for anyone who can actually take the platform and make it a lot better. How can we have smooth communication everywhere we go to? Then you need to also have your money ability to have money management skills. This is very key. Is an attribute of every single entrepreneur who makes a lot of sense where it's coming from. Most people assume that once they start the business and money starts coming in, it's their money. Now you need to separate that. That's your money, that's the business money. And business money is not your money. And so you need to be very careful with that. Money management is very key as you go through that. And then you also need to have, as I said, an eye for opportunity. How can you make things better? Creativity is part of it. Now, you must separate the two when you are dealing with the business community. That you are creative in an idea or making things work does not mean that it naturally translates into innovation. All right. Innovation for me in the business world is simply acceptability at the marketplace. So you can be excited about a thing. You need to be able to differentiate that. That's one attribute that most successful entrepreneurs have. They come with a very beautiful idea, but they test run it. They try as much as possible to find out whether the market will accept that. Until the market accepts it, don't get angry. Don't get also too excited because you don't have a platform. All right. So that's very, very key as you go through that. What some of the attributes that you need to be able to have.
Hmm. That's so wonderful. What are the challenges of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, first of all, the challenges are there, but in truth, when we discuss entrepreneurship, we don't even we see them as opportunities to grow. The first challenge that most people talk about erroneously, and I repeat myself and use that word carefully, is that they talk about capital on this side of the world. But truly, the first challenge is a viable idea, an idea that solves a human problem. Remember that we live in a human world, and so people are just simply interested in your capacity to solve their problem. So you must have that understanding that do you have what it takes to solve a human problem? If you don't have that, then you're totally out of the place. That is one challenge. The second challenge is if you live on that side of the world, Africa and Nigeria, there are government policies that do not really encourage that. For instance, you have tax policies that make you wonder who are you paying to do this thing. Problems for you at the end of the day. Then you also have the challenge of government policies in terms of we recently saw it where people don't debate issues. Somebody just wakes up in the morning and says, we don't want to take this any longer. We've banned this product. And you are so into it. You've just invested so much into it. And without any test and period, a latitude for you to be able to make sense of it. So people easily get that. Then accessibility to funding. Accessibility to funding. As a consultant, we have done series of trainings. We've done series of what we call linkages with funding organizations. And you are trapped in Nigeria because the banking sector here runs just for 12 months. It is a 12-month system. So once you're collecting anything, they are thinking about how can they have it back so that their books will look good in the next 12 months, rather than how long is it going to take. So government is doing some work in intervening by providing just some ways to intervene in that. However, it's also becoming difficult because they are also creating the commercial bank mentality. When you're doing a developmental approach, policy is different from what the commercial bank is doing. So government is doing some work in intervening by providing grants, as we often say, is another come with good ideas, and they find it very difficult to access funding that can expand. Then access to markets. Now, when you have government agencies like the Export Promotion Council, you've got the Nigerian Ports Authority, you've got the customs. The essence of these agencies are to help create what we call an enabling environment for you to have a product that you can take out. I give you an instance. You go to Ghana and you find products in exports. For those who understand exports, you know that there's a country of export, there's a country of origin. Do you know that most of the products sold from Ghana as country of origin, country of exports, actually indicated that their country of origin is Nigeria? So again, we must have that understanding that you can be coming from anywhere in the world. You can be coming from anywhere. You must make your entrepreneurs find it a lot easier to export, to access the markets anywhere in the world. Always remember that the other market has its own standardization. So that is another challenge for us. Standardization is a problem. You find people who are attempting to do something, and they realize that to go through the process is also so tough. So the best thing to do is circumvent it. So you've got products that are not certified in Nigeria, and then they are being sold all over. Why? Because the process of even certification is another challenge. And you go to other countries and you find that that process is shut, and that process is in fact an approach we call one-stop shop, where it worked in Sierra Leone. It worked in Liberia. It's coming here in Nigeria. It's been having its little issues. But the whole concept is that if I have a business idea or I want to set up a business, I can go into one office, one big office, and I meet the person in charge of registration. I meet the person in charge of certification. I meet the person in charge of making sure that my books are correct and all that, or my ideas are within the policy of government, and they sign it in that big office. I get the advice, I get the processes all done within a short time. It's showing some good opportunities for growth, but these are some of the issues that are creating a lot of tension around here.
Hmm. Hmm. So what are some of the basic business opportunities you have talked about? I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. If only we are willing,
Yes.
if we make the decision to see them, we will see them. What are some of the basic business opportunities we should be looking out for, especially in 2021, especially talking about Nigeria?
Nigeria, for instance, the whole of Africa, we need to invest in processing. There's a lot of raw material. We're raw material based, and I think that's where our challenge is. We are always at the level of you've got a cocoa, and then you don't have the capacity to have chocolates. You have tomatoes. Where remember, I just said here, Nigeria is the second largest producer after Morocco of tomatoes, but it's the first importer of tomato paste. So again, you've got that challenge, and so we're a basic raw material country, but if you must, and value addition. So you must start thinking that if I have tomatoes, what can I do? What value can I add to it? So processing is a huge opportunity that we have here. ICT also, remember that we have a huge market with 209 million people in Nigeria. You've got the opportunity to train people to have access to that, and then you've got the opportunity on the internet as well. It's a lot, huge opportunity for people that can actually start thinking about what they can do. Training and on what we are trained, we are able to do, and what results we're able to generate. Then you come to minerals. I can assure you that because of the screen we're using here, I would have shown you some stones and some good products that have been used in Nigeria. I mean, gotten from Jos or Nigeria, and then they are being produced and reworked in Indonesia, and then brought back to Nigeria and sold at a higher rate. So you've got minerals in here that you need to really work on. We must add value to it. We must add value to it. We still have so much natural resources like the tin and columbite. We still have them here. We still have gold in some of the local governments. And if you've been in the news recently, you know that there's so much gold that has been discovered in some of the states in northeast Nigeria or northwest Nigeria already, that you can actually start thinking of processing. But coming back to agriculture, we need to have processing capacity. We must process them. I know the African Development Bank is big because you can process and consume only in Nigeria. I give you an instance. Um, Benin Republic is about 19 million people. But do you know they import so much rice that can take the whole of China? China is 1.4 billion, 1.3, 1.4 billion people. So you need to ask yourself, why is a 19 million population importing food for 1 point something billion people? Because the next neighbor is a bright called Nigeria with 209 million people.
Oh.
So you can see a huge opportunity that they bring in this. I understand when government said we're shutting the borders because of that, but you need to also take care of your people within your own environment. Do you have the capacity to destone this rice that you have? We are truly self-sustaining if we're able to work with those opportunities that are in there. We also have the challenge of, I can tell you, welders. Would you be shocked to find out that welding is a challenge in Nigeria? We are importing people to weld under the sea here in Nigeria. It's a huge opportunity. We're not doing so much in that area. Our diagnosis capacity in the medical area, I want to see someone invest in that area. I've asked myself, why don't we just have people invest in that area? It's a huge opportunity for us if we're able to simply do that. So these are areas that we can take in. And then we've got the TRIFT, the funding capacity. A couple of my friends who are involved in the trip, you can actually see how much money can go around. And these are the things we need to be able to invest in.
Wow. Let me read you some of the comments that people have been making. Please keep the comments coming. Emmanuel Junior Zaka said, the moment you understand the truth behind what Victor is saying regarding the place of government in entrepreneurship and the fact that you are central to the success of your entrepreneurial, adventure. He's just talking about, some of the things you have said. He previously said that you are not just answering the name Victor for the fun of it, that you are actually hitting the matter neatly and you are changing a lot of minds. Thank you so much for that comment.
Thank you, Manuel.
And Reverend Zakaria Chine, who I'm sure you know very well, said he's just saying that Tasu Aga has an outfit in Jos that trains people to cut stone, which is quite innovative to do. There are a lot of opportunities out there that people will always complain that there are no jobs and what have you. So just as you've been saying, that there are all kinds of things. So thank you so much for your comments. Keep the comments coming. If you have any questions specifically that you want Victor to answer, he will gladly do that. So what are the alternatives? We have been talking, I think you have answered this in some way. I wanted to say, what are the alternatives of white collar jobs for the youth? And I think our discussion to this point has you have answered that question. So do you support the ideology behind the NSAS protest? Are you with me? Yeah, looks like we're still having some technical glitches there. I'm sure that Victor will sort things out and he will be coming back to continue with this discussion. Just as I said, keep the comments coming, keep commenting, keep sharing this live stream so that other people will benefit from it. Hit the like button, and so that we'll continue to have this wonderful conversation. As soon as Victor is back, we will continue. There are still a lot of questions I want him to answer. You can see that he's very outspoken. He knows his subject very well, because this is something he's been doing for more than a decade, and he has been touching many lives, just like Emmanuel Junior Zaka has observed. So I want you to keep the comments coming. Ask any questions, any specific questions, not to me, but to Victor, and he will gladly answer them as he tries to sort out, the network problem, and he will be back. But once again, thank you so much. If you are just joining this conversation, I am hosting Viktor Kuchili, who is a serial entrepreneur, and he has been doing a very wonderful job across Nigeria and beyond, and he has been impacting many lives. He is someone that can be described as a compendium of knowledge. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So before you went offline, I just asked you the question: did you support the ideology behind this and protest?
Can I get you again?
Yeah. So my question is: do I support the ideology behind the NSAS protest? Should we continue to protest or continue to innovate? I know that may be a tricky one. Yeah, looks like we are still having technical difficulties. Please, this network, you need to work, because my guest today has just a lot of things to talk about. We have been learning for the past about an hour or so. He has been talking about a lot of wonderful things. So yeah, I pray the network works so that we'll be able to wrap up this discussion. I still have a few questions that I want to ask Victor. I pray that he's able to get a better network so that we'll be able to continue with this wonderful conversation. And as I say, keep the comments coming. I can see Innocent Abi saying a lot of opportunities in the diagnostic industry. Just saying that there are a lot of opportunities in the diagnostic industry. Any idea of generating partnership in that industry, considering the huge... Okay, this is a question to Victor. As soon as he comes back, I will try to ask him that question, put that question to him so that he will be able to answer. I think he's back. All right, so
okay. Well, we're back again.
Yes, so maybe you should respond to this question. Innocent is asking, you talked about a lot of opportunities in the diagnostic industry. So Innocent wants to know if if you have any idea of generating partnership in that industry. This network is just, this network is not helping matters. I believe. All right.
Yes.
Did you get the question?
I think we're back. I think you're referring to the question here by Innocent.
Yes, please.
Yes, huge. I totally agree with him that there's a huge opportunity. Yet, who are presently experts in that area, as biochemists or industrial Innocent is interested, he can actually come in. That discussion can, that platform and that partnership can be created with like-minded people who can put resources together to be able to have that done.
So sorry, we didn't get the other part. What was the organization
Can
you
you hear
referred
me?
to? Yes, I can hear you now. Are you with me?
Based on the consulting work that I had, where people were ready to fund those ideas. But I've been an area that's it's also very um, technical. You need that kind of understanding that whoever is going to be running it partnership and already are running that platform at the moment, they're able to take on diagnostic services. And I think there are a lot more. There are a lot more that we can do. We can actually use
All right, this looks a little bit weird, but yeah, we are still having this conversation with Viktor Kuchili. The network has been a little bit terrible on his side, but he has been so resilient because he wants to have this conversation, and we've been talking about a lot of things. So as soon as he's back, as soon as he gets that sorted out, I'll bring him back to the conversation so that we'll continue with the discussion. If you have any question, any specific questions, just like I think he was trying to respond to the question that Innocent asked, I will encourage you, Innocent, if you're listening to me, that you try to connect with Victor. He seems he has an idea that he wants to help you concerning your question. All right, so please go ahead. Welcome back.
Yes, just as I said, we've created that partnership with a couple of organizations, and presently one has been able to pick that, and they connected. One was funding, one was coming with the technical expertise, and they were able to start presently a diagnostic center here in Georgia. So they're investing a lot of that. They're investing a lot of their monies, and you can actually see that quality results are being generated in that case. So I am looking forward to people who can actually invest in that area. If you look at how much we spend in terms of we call it health tourism now, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked what we spend in India, in Dubai, in Germany, and of course in the United States. I've come across people who, it's so funny that he leaves this country and then goes to England, for instance, to Britain, and then he gets into a hospital and discovers that one of the doctors that was to attend to him was one of the doctors from Nigeria that he avoided. Okay, so I think if we understand the opportunity, but on the other side, those who have those businesses must also show some level of professionalism. Okay, you can't run a business and say that I'm around today and I'm not around tomorrow. That creates a lot of tension in people. So we need to balance that discussion, because sometimes inconsistencies by our business communities have created those kind of doubts and people abandoning us of that group.
One of the questions I asked you before the technical glitches was I wanted to ask, I know it's a tricky question, but I asked the question whether we should continue to protest or continue to innovate.
Okay. Yes, you would have even asked, how did we get there? How did we get to? I totally support answers. I'm glad, and I can tell you without blinking that I was part of it. I'm sorry, I was part of it, because you can't run a system that human beings are treated like animals and it's all okay. You can't run a system that people who should be able to air their views are treated as if they were a mistake in their own country, as if they just came in by some kind of arrangement that do not really become sustainable for them. We've seen lives being lost and people just explaining it away. We've seen resources being destroyed and people just becoming okay with explanation to it. So it's wrong. Police brutality on one side, and then bad governance on the other side. It's totally out of place. You'll be shocked to find out that we run budgets in this country and nothing is happening. It's look at what just happened with the educational system. That for 9 solid months, we were all at home. How do you connect when countries all over the world are beginning to question our certificates? We are having brain drains. People are leaving our country to other countries and doing very well in other countries, and it's all okay for us. We have government officials who would rather have their children elsewhere schooling and than investing in education. I'll give you an instance. In the whole northern Nigeria, the 19 northern states, from their budget from 1999 to 2020, what they have given education was not more than 25% of their budget. And remember, we have 14 million out of out of school children. We are the largest in the world. We've got no business doing that. And yet people don't care about it. People can explain to you and still go to sleep. People can wake up in the morning, have a bath, brush their teeth out of way that people can continue. We also engage in ways that can get the results to people. And in any way, it helps the government. If they were wise enough, they would have taken opportunity of that to make this country a lot better. We have no business. We have no business being where we are at the moment. We were the largest economy in Africa. Where are we today? We were beginning to make gains in agriculture.
All right, thank you so much. If you're watching this, please don't go nowhere. Keep the comments coming. I can see you commenting. I can see Innocent. I can see Reverend Chine. I can see, Adama. Thank you so much for commenting. Yes, just please continue.
Yeah. Totally out of place, and I think the government should encourage such interactions, should create such platforms. Personally, I've said it severally that the best thing you can do is to consistently have an interaction with the governed, the led, let the followers. You might think you know it all better, but I can guarantee you that the quality of your research, we don't even have data. We don't even have data. So how do you even plan? You have a country that is solidly 75% run by a product that they do not control. The crude oil, you don't control the price, you don't control how much you need to take out of your country. So what else do you have? So we must ask ourselves those questions. And then we have a system where you take from our common purse over $1 billion, 2 billion naira, 3 billion naira, and they say your punishment is to be in prison for 6 months or you pay 10,000 naira. It doesn't make sense. So we must ask ourselves whether we are ready to have a better country or not. But these discussions will continue, and every responsible government must learn.
In a funny way, Reverend Chine is saying that the government is hostile towards anything answers. Maybe that was why the network just disappeared when I asked it. I think there is a question here that, Innocent is still asking about, entering, if you have any idea about entering the agro business, especially for startup.
Yes, I've been part of the German Technical Corporation, the GIZ, as a consultant in helping people who want to get into the agro sector. We have discussed opportunities. Again, we have a little constraint in the policy in terms of land ownership, where the land is expected or assumed to be owned by government, and the people do not have access, ordinarily should have had access to it. But again, it doesn't really work in that way. But there are opportunities that you can come in. We've got very fertile land in areas where you negotiate to use those pieces of land for years and then you produce that. You can actually have that kind of interaction. There are opportunities, and I think we can talk much more in those areas. Remember, we have, as I said, processing. I don't know whether that's what you want to do or you just want to get at the raw material level where it's simply production.
Yeah, I will encourage you, Innocent, since you have interest, please just reach out to Victor directly. Just go to his Facebook page and send him a private message and explain, and he will take it from there. And thank you so much for responding to that. So not many people know that you are also a musician. Is it true that you play the piano and also sing?
Yes, I used to sing professionally. Professionally, I have the rare opportunity of being trained by one of the icons here in Jos, Panampasi Paul, who taught me how to play the keyboard. I'm quite excited about it. Somehow, I think I got lost in books and the studies and all that. So, but once in a while, I sing, and I think I sing to just my friends and family members.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know about that until when I was preparing for this, and I found out about you. You have written a lot of books. Which among your many books will you recommend for starters? Those who are not very familiar with your work, what are some of the first books that you recommend for starters?
Yeah, for starters, I will recommend one, Intensity of Attention, the art of the way of the masters. It's one book that resonates with me personally. It's something that I had to learn. I was getting through a situation where I was even asking myself, was I able to contribute to life? Am I able to add value to life? And I just discovered that the difference between people who have added value and those who would have been is the quality of attention you give to whatever assignment you have. And so it's quite important that you realize that, and it resonates with me a lot. The second book is Leadership Edge, The Art of Managing Self. I just discovered that about 70 to 75% of the reason why leaders fail is nothing outside of them, it's something inside of them. The ability to make sense of why they are there, what does it really mean to them? Are they able to manage emotions, manage perception, manage environment, manage self generally? So those two books have resonated with me so much. And then for the business community is Generating Business Idea. Being a faculty member of the Just Business School, I took time to work on that to help people realize that the first thing you need to do is have a viable idea that can help you out.
How do people get these books?
Very good question. This year, it's one of, we had worked our books as hard copies around Nigeria. And by this year, they will be online for those who would want to access them. And I can guarantee them in the next 2 weeks, they will have some of these books online already.
Yeah, but if somebody is in Nigeria, you can walk to any bookstore and get your books?
You can walk to, in Jos, particularly, you can go to Oasis Bookshop. You've got the books there. You can go to TLT bookshops as well. You can get there. And then we have a mobile bookshop. So once you call, they can actually deliver to you wherever you are.
Wow, that's wonderful. I want us to, even as we try to wrap it up, to talk about some of the other things you do. I remember before moving to the States, when I was in Jos, working in Jos, I used to listen to your program, Stepping Out, which is so inspirational. This is more than a decade or about a decade right now. Is that correct? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just talking about Stepping Out, your radio program. I used to listen to it, and I think this is about a decade now since you've been doing that consistently. Is that correct? Yeah, still having some technical difficulties there. We are trying to wrap it up. If you have any questions, please, for Victor, continue. Just put the question in the comment section, and I will gladly share that with him. But thank you so much for all of you that have been commenting. So Victor is back. Let me see whether I'll get him to answer my question right
Yeah, I
now.
think I'm
Yes,
back.
yes, you're back.
Yes, stepping out left here. Yes.
Yeah, so you still continue to do that, right?
It's still
Yeah.
running. It's still running.
Okay. On Peace FM.
Now.
All right, so Stepping Out is still running on Peace FM. In case you are not familiar with that, I encourage you to try and hook up to that. You will get inspired by wonderful, wonderful short few minutes every day, but they are so powerful, and they will help you. What is CCN? What specifically do you do in CCN, your organization?
Yeah, CCN is basically a human capital development company. We're into consulting in areas of business development and leadership. We train people. We also are involved in research, where organizations would want to know what's wrong with their market. They also want to know how they can improve staff productivity. So we get involved with that. It's also been running for the past 16 years.
Wow. And how do people connect to that? You have a website?
Not a fully run website. We have a page, a Facebook page
Okay.
for the CCN,
Okay.
and that's Stepping Out as well, that we connect with that
Okay.
as well.
All right. Well, what about Victor Roth's consulting? Are you into road constructions or something like that?
Okay, Victor is my name, and Rhodes is actually a conversion of my traditional name. So it's not road as in construction. It's one arm of what we SMEs. We're dealing with SMEs and Victor Rhodes Consulting. That's basically what we do with that. Yes. So it's not really construction company, not at all.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. Somebody is asking for your email. I will refer them back to you, Mikhail. Just go to Victor's Facebook page and send him a private message and take and converse with him there. We wouldn't want to share his email on this platform. What is your advice? I know you have touched on this severally. What is your advice, especially to Nigerians, as we start a new year? What is your advice to people?
We must driving force. We have lost so much in terms of lives. So many lives have been lost in this country because of our recklessness in discussing, in focusing on religion, focusing on ethnicity, focusing on regional lines. We must look at our common humanity. When the bullet comes, it doesn't remember whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. When the bullet comes, it doesn't remember whether you're from the north or the south. We must stop the common humanity. We are human beings first, after all. And so we should build that kind of community. To stay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great time having you. Thank you so much for all for your time and for all the wonderful things you have shared with us. Wonderful content, free of charge. I can't appreciate you enough for making time. You are a very busy man, but you agreed to do this against all odds. So I really, really appreciate this. That we are starting the new year. This is the first episode. in this new year. And I really, what a wonderful way to start the new year with this episode of the interview. Thank you so much. In case you want to connect with Victor, I would encourage you to just go to Facebook and send him a private message. As I always say, don't go into how are you and all those type of things. Just go straight to the point and tell him that you listen to this interview because he's a busy man. He gets a lot of those messages, I bet you. So just go straight to the point and tell him what you want to talk with him about, and he will respond to you accordingly. And you can also follow his Facebook page. Stepping Out, there is a Facebook page for that, Stepping Out with Viktor Kuchili, and just check out all the wonderful things that he has been doing. I wish you a happy new year, and thank you so much for coming on the program. For all of you viewers, thank you so much for making time to be part of this episode again. I will be having another interesting guest tomorrow, so please check this page to see who will be coming. Yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy new year to you all. Yeah, thank you so much, and bye for now.